Bringing Up Boys by Dr. James Dobson. You're tuned to Proverbs 22, verse 6, Parenting. This is where I help parents raise up Proverbs 22, verse 6 boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in. In today's episode, we will extract nuggets and tips and ideas on how you can raise a Proverbs 22 verse 6 boy or boys based on the concepts and principles shared in this book by Dr. James Dobson. Proverbs 22 verse 6 parenting is an invitation to every dad, every mom, and the idea is you to be guided on how you can intentionally train up your child in the way he should go, according to Proverbs 22, verse 6. Parenting is becoming a very taxing and tasking process, mandate, and assignment. And with time, knowledge is becoming necessary if you are to become an effective parent and therefore raising an effective child. So, my intention here is to provide you with as much knowledge as possible, and I'm going to do it from different quarters, from different sources, because I want you to be holistically shaped up and programmed for the parenting role. So, let's now get down to Dr. James Dobson as we learn how you can bring up boys, right? Yeah, so I'll read through as it is the custom, and then I'll stop at some point when I read a thought that I want to expound or I want to align with the Proverbs 22 verse 6 theme. My name is Martin. It is a pleasure to have you watch and listen. Chapter 1: The Wonderful World of Boys. Greetings to all the men and women out there who are blessed to be called parents. There is no greater privilege in living than bringing a tiny new human being into the world and then trying to raise him or her properly during the next 18 years. Doing that job right requires all the intelligence, wisdom, and determination you'll be able to master from day to day. And for parents whose family includes one or more boys, the greatest challenge may be just keeping them alive through childhood and adolescence. We have a delightful 4-year-old youngster in our family named Jeffrey, who is all boy. One day last week, his parents and grandparents were talking in the family room when they realized that the child hadn't been seen in the past few minutes. Then they quickly searched from room to room, but he was nowhere to be found. 4 adults scurried throughout throughout the neighborhood calling, "Jeffrey, Jeffrey." No answer. The kid had simply disappeared. Panic gripped the family as terrible possibilities loomed before them. He had been kidnapped? Did he wander away? Was he in mortal danger? Everyone muttered a prayer while running from place to place. After about 15 minutes of sheer terror, someone suggested they call 911. As they re entered the house, the boy jumped out and said, "Hey!" to his grandfather. Little Jeffrey, bless his heart, had been hiding under the bed while chaos swirled around him. It was his idea of a joke. He honestly thought everyone else would think it was funny too. He was shocked to learn that 4 big people were very angry at him. Jeffrey is not a bad or rebellious kid. He's just a boy. And in case you haven't noticed, boys are different from girls. The fact was never in question for previous generations. They knew intuitively that each sex was a breed apart and that boys were typically the more unpredictable of the two. Haven't you heard your parents and grandparents say with a smile, girls are made out of sugar and spice and everything nice, but boys are made of snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. It was said tongue in cheek, but people of all ages through it thought it was based on fact. Boys will be boys. They said knowingly they were right. Boys are usually, but not always, tougher to raise than their sisters are. Girls can be difficult to handle too, but there is something especially challenging about boys. Although individually temperament vary, boys are designed to be more assertive, audacious, and excitable than girls are. Psychologist John Rosemond calls them little aggressive machines. One father referred to his son as all afterburner and no rudder. These are some of the reasons why Maurice Chevalier never sang Thank Heaven for Little Boys. They just don't inspire great sentimentality. In an article entitled What Are Boys Made Of? Reporter Paula Gray Hanker no quoted a mother named Meg Mackenzie who said raising her two sons is like living with a tornado. From the moment that they come home from school, they'll be running around the house, climbing trees outside, and making a commotion inside that sounds as if a herd of elephants has moved in upstairs. I'll try to calm them down, but my husband will say, this is what boys do, get used to it. Hanker continued. Mrs. Mackenzie, the lone female in a household of males, says this tendency of boys to leap and then listen drives her crazy. I can't just tell my boys clean up. If I do, they'll put one or two toys away and assume that the task is done. I've learned that I have to be very, very specific. She has found that boys do not respond to subtle hints but need requests clearly outlined. I'll put a basket of clean laundry on the stairs and the boys will pass it by 20 times and not once will it occur to them to stop and carry it upstairs, she says. Does that sound familiar? If you host a birthday party for 5-year-olds, the boys will probably behave very differently from the girls. One or more of them is likely to throw a cake, put his hands in the punch bowl, or mess up the games for the girls. Why are they like this? Some will say their mischievous nature has been learned from their culture. Really? Then why are boys more aggressive in every society around the globe? And why did the Greek philosopher Plato write more than 2,003 years ago? Of all the animals, the boy is the most unmanageable. One of my favorite little books is entitled Up to No Good, The Rascal Things Boys Do. Edited by Kitty Herman, it is a compilation of stories told by perfectly decent grown men recalling their childhood years. Here are several examples that made me smile. In seventh grade, the biology teacher had us dissect fetal pigs. My friends and I pocketed the snout of the pig and stuck in on the water fountain so that the water shot straight up out of the pig's nostrils. No one really noticed it until they were bent over just about to drink. The problem is that we wanted to stick around and see the results. But then we started laughing so hard that we got caught. We all got the paddle for that. So let me stop at that. We'll continue in the next episode. But really, the point is this. If you're to raise Proverbs 22, verse 6, boys or boy, you have to acknowledge they're different from girls. And the difference is by design because of the expectations, because of the assignment, because of the destiny, because of the choices, and because of really what is awaiting them. So if what is awaiting a boy is different from what is awaiting a girl, it makes sense that you as a mother, as a father, you ought to understand what is it so that you can get your parenting guided alongside that. So in the next episode, we'll dig deep into what wisdom is shared by Dr. James Dobson. But at this point, just know that it takes knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to raise Proverbs 22 verse 6 boys and children for that matter. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. It is always a pleasure to have you watch and listen.